The C8 Corvette lineup starts with a very capable Stingray, then moves into a track-focused Z06 with a flat-plane V8, and then goes absolutely nuts with twin turbos and 1,064 horsepower for the ZR1. Then they add electrification and all-wheel drive with the ZR1X. But there's a bit of a gap right here. What could go in this spot? How about a duo of Grand Sports, both powered by the new 6th generation small block 6.7-liter V8, making 536 horsepower, 520 pound-feet of torque in the standard rear-wheel drive Grand Sport, or adding electrification and all-wheel drive in the Grand Sport X, making 721 horsepower. So let's put on the POV and see what we've got going on here. I'm going to start with perhaps the most exciting part of the new Grand Sport. It is the debut of the LS6. In 72 years of the small block V8, there have only been now 6 generations of this engine. And here are the highlights. It's a 6.7-liter V8 compared to the LT2's 6.2-liter. It's got a higher compression ratio of 13:1, larger throttle body, high velocity ports, tunnel ram intake manifold, and a longer stroke, and that gives you that increased displacement. Here's the craziest part, 520 pound-feet of torque. That is the most torque of any naturally aspirated V8 ever. Look at this torque and power curve compared to the LT2. It's coming in earlier, it's coming in higher, and it just tapers off in a really nice way. I can't wait to drive this car with this engine, and the beauty is that this is not just going to be dedicated to the Grand Sport and the Grand Sport X, it's coming into the base Stingray lineup. And I love when car brands do cutaways like this. You can see things like the 345 section rear tires on the 21-inch unique design wheels, their 20-inch wheels up front, and now optional carbon ceramic brakes with the Grand Sport track package. And here's your visual representation of the unsprung weight savings. These are the standard iron rotors, and goodness, these are pretty darn heavy. But if you go pick up the carbon ceramics, it's featherweight. This is so much savings, and this is going to make the car turn in quicker. It's going to feel more responsive. As standard, the Grand Sport gets GM's magnetic ride control adaptive suspension and the all-season PS4S tires. You can upgrade from there to the PSS5 summer tires or the Cup 2s. Now, the way this car is spec'd right here is with the Admiral Blue, goodness gracious, I cannot say that. Admiral Blue paint from the 1963 car, the first Grand Sport, and it's also got the white center stripe that they took from the 1996 C4 generation, and it looks amazing, especially with this fully red interior, which is a lot of red, but I do love that they even added a suede stitched headliner onto this removable roof panel. This color is fantastic, and all of these Grand Sport models are going to get the wide body kit. You first saw it on the E-Ray. Here it's more distinct. It's got additional brake cooling ducts right down there. It also gets these unique wheel designs and this flared out rocker panel. The inlet here for cooling has been widened on this car. It gets a Grand Sport badge on the side, and of course with the Grand Sport, the hash marks. Now they're placed here to sort of signify the mid-engine layout, and it gets a more subtle lip spoiler along with the optional center exit pipes. That's another Z06 borrowed piece, and it looks so much cooler than the standard Stingray, to me personally. You can also option on more Z06 derived parts like these carbon fiber dive planes and the carbon fiber wing, which isn't as crazy as the ZR1, but it's still a big visual upgrade. This is the launch edition car, and it has this blue dipped interior. If you thought the red was a ton, look at the immersion of blue here. This is only going to be offered for one model year, and it's got like these red accents stitched in here on the doors. This looks very upscale. Carbon fiber gloss inserts, and then as I go to sit in these seats, I'll point out that unlike the normal carbon fiber buckets with the GT2 setup, these have perforations in the center and these fabric bolsters, which are going to provide a little more grip than the standard leather. Still have that carbon fiber outline here. And then on the headrest, you have an embossed overhead view of the outline of the Grand Sport. And here in the center above the wireless charging pad, it says Launch Edition with another sort of outline from the overhead view. Looking inside, I'm a sucker for a navy leather interior. The hue of this blue is pretty darn bright. I'm not sure every day this would be cool, but I do like the red perforations here on the dashboard and the stitching accents. They've done a really nice job making the C8 interior, especially with the 26 upgrades, losing the spine of controls and having this come down a little more, to feel like a very high-end place to be. It's really trying to compete with the world in terms of not just performance, but also in terms of material quality and design. The suede headliner is very nice as well. Of course, if you don't want the launch edition, you can just get a more traditional leather panel here on the door and the fully leather seats, which have heating and ventilation. With the 26 upgrades, we have this new 3-screen setup, which this one over here is not going to turn on unless I fully start up the car, which I will in just a few moments. But yeah, this is going to control things like your screen layout if you want it in Tour, Sport, or Track, and it'll be the configurations for your launch control and for your G-meter and other cool performance data. And this infotainment is just super responsive, and it's got the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I like that the knurled finish on all the toggles is very tactile, and you're easily going to find what you're looking for. I'm going to close this door so it stops making that beeping noise. The steering wheel with this squircle, squared off top and bottom with the red center stripe, feels great in the hands. Large paddles here that you can get in carbon fiber on other versions of the C8. I like the gloss carbon fiber around the center controls there, and this is your drive mode selection, and the front end lift, which is an option. A little bit of storage in there with 2 USBs. I mentioned the wireless charging pad, and here is that stitched suede headliner, which looks and feels so cool. And there is one thing I'm noticing about this cabin. No manual. Still, even though we saw that Tremec that they revealed at SEMA and they talked about maybe there being a manual transmission now for the Grand Sport, it's not here. And according to Chevy, it's probably not coming. Let's open up the back panel to show you not the trunk, which is still here, and you do get a frunk in this car, unlike in the ZR1, where you lose that for cooling. But we can see the new engine cover with that design, carbon fiber around that, 6.7 liters, 535 horsepower. That's a nice power bump, but it's more about the responsiveness of this engine and just how it's going to carry it. When I started the car up earlier, you could just feel the feathering of the throttle. It just is raring to go, more so than the old 6.2. Coming over here to the Grand Sport X briefly, it has that electrified front axle like in the E-Ray, which is now being discontinued for the 2027 model year, so there is not going to be a base Grand Sport X. This is kind of what you're getting. 721 horsepower, the concert of the new 6.7 and that electrified front axle. It does give you all-wheel drive like the E-Ray had, and so therefore the 0 to 60 performance is going to be better. It is probably going to be quicker around a track with the front axle, the power it's giving you, and the additional grip of all-wheel drive. But I don't know, the purist in me and the weight savings and what the price delta is no doubt going to be to get the X versus the standard Grand Sport has me looking at that car. And in the C8 lineup, this really is going to be the driver's version of the C8. To get all of that track tech in a car that isn't going to be as expensive as the Z06, it's a very special proposition, and I'm excited to drive this car. And I have to finish this one off by firing it up. And before I rev it, let's move it into sport or track mode. And then oh, it sounds good. We don't yet know the price or exactly when it's going on sale in 2026, but it should start under $100,000. And that's what's getting me the most excited about this car. It's still priced in the echelon of attainability and yet giving you measurable improvements over the already excellent C8 with the Z51 package. It's not quite as wild, doesn't rev quite as high, doesn't sound as amazing as the flat plane V8 powered Z06, but it's not going to cost as much, and it's certainly not going to be as expensive as that ZR1 over there, which is now getting into $200,000 plus. One thing is for sure, with the new LS6 small block and the fact that you can get performance hardware you never could on the C6 Grand Sport or the C7, like carbon ceramic brakes, this will be the highest performing Grand Sport ever. Just wish it had a manual.